Well, we just came back from the retreat center. I haven't been there for about 9 years. Certainly brought back many memories. It's difficult when you've been in a place for 4 years solid not to become attached. When I look at it now, the thing that strikes me is that in the end of the day, it's just a pile of stones. What makes a retreat significant is not the buildings, not even the environment, but it's about the individuals who are practicing. It all depends on whether one achieves experience and realization in the Dharma. Now really the place is all set up. It's set up to have maybe 16 or 20 people could stay there. There's a shrine room, a yoga hall. There's a fire puja hut, a jinsek hut. When we were there for 4 years, it was a hive of activity. Making tormas, doing pujas, meditating, receiving teachings. And now there's 2 people there, kind of doing their own thing, meditating. My Lama wanted to make sure that the place was being used. But sadly, like many centers in the West, and most of the time they are laying empty. There's nobody practicing. It's quite sad. I was wondering why it was that the retreat center isn't attracting practitioners. And part of the reason is that unless there is a skilled Lama, a teacher there to guide their students, there's not much reason to practice. I mean, they say there is a blessing, right? If you've got a place that has had continuous practice, people meditating for years and years, then there's a special blessing. And so because of that, understandably, then there's a much stronger blessing in places like Yolmo, you know, these isolated places in the Himalayan mountains where 1,000 years ago the Yogi Milarepa was meditating, or the sacred sites of Guru Rinpoche, that sort of thing. I mean, you can see from the pictures, the location is ideal for practice. It's isolated. There are no houses around, and the road is very quiet. You seldom get anybody driving down that road. That's the actual meaning of the word gompa, the word we use for monastery. It means a place of isolation, somewhere cut off. It's supposed to be a league away from any habitation, so that if somebody shouted from a league away, they wouldn't disturb you. In general then, Scotland's quite a bleak place. You can see right now the weather is terrible. I mean, it's really beautiful. Well, there's wind and rain. There's a kind of majesty with the elements, with the environment. But again, however beautiful the place is, in the end, what makes it a retreat is the people practicing there. And then if you don't have a teacher, a Lama with experience and realization, and you got to practice on your own, it's really difficult. It's not just a matter of being stuck in a room somewhere. Being stuck in a room and not seeing anybody. I mean, if that alone was going to bring realization on the path, then everybody in prison would be enlightened, right? It's not like that. It's not just about being locked up somewhere. You yourself have to have some kind of practice just sitting there on your cushion and closing your eyes isn't going to bring about results. And for most of us, then we need guidance. We need a teacher who can point out our mistakes and guide us on the path, give us instructions. But these places, for the most part, these days, many of them are laying empty. And there's few people who are able to dedicate themselves to practice, right? We kind of need to work, pay for our food, and if you're sitting in a room somewhere for 4 years and you've got no source of income, it's very difficult in the West. So that's part of the reason why I'm encouraged to develop my own place of practice. I mean, for an institution like Sammy Ling, then they've got funds, they've got money. Not only that, they've got lots of volunteers. I was just at the retreat center up there, men's retreat, Sammy Dechen Xing. And at the moment there were 1 and 2, 3, 4, I think 5 volunteers. Martin was there. I told you about Martin the other day. He's the ecological electrical genius. They're installing a turbine system, runs an underfloor heating system in the meditation blocks. It's all quite impressive. But what it made me think about was just how much infrastructure and resources we need in order to run a meditation center in the West. It's mind-boggling. So much money. The technology that's required. I mean, when we were there, there was no electricity. We just had a generator. And that only run maybe for an hour a day or a couple of hours a day. And in winter, then the heating was only allowed to be on for an hour a day as well. In some ways, that was better. Right now, they have 2 technicians installing this hydro system. So I can't imagine what it'll be like in the future. You know, to maintain it, babysit the equipment, make sure nothing breaks down. It's all complicated and difficult. Unless you've got a big organization like Sammy Ling, you know, with resources, funds, accountants, managers, departments, then the whole thing just would never work. So to my mind, what I need is somewhere that's very simple, very basic, right? I mean, it's great having underfloor heating, having comfort and luxury. And you can have that even in the middle of nowhere. I mean, this is an example. Sammy Dechen Xing is it's quite an amazing place. But to sustain and maintain a place like this, you know, it costs thousands and thousands of pounds. And there's loads of volunteers involved. Somebody to cook, to do the shopping, somebody to fix the electrics, maintain the generator. It's all too complicated. The lamas of the past didn't need any of this. They just ran away into the wilderness like some kind of wild animal, lived in a cave. I'd wondered about this. I'd wondered whether it was actually possible to practice in this kind of authentic way in the West. And I'm starting to think that it's not possible. But I'm going to give it a try. And if it's very low key, very simple, without lots of technology or requiring great resources and wealth, then it's possible. And in the end, there's only going to be 2 or 3 people. You know, it might just be me on my own in the end. But the main thing has to be the practice. You can make it as impressive as you like. But if there's no one there gaining realization on the spiritual path, then it's really just kind of a tradition. We're just kind of going through the motions. For most of us, all we're doing is we're just kind of finding an alternative way to live out our mundane lives. It's kind of a worldly life with a spiritual flavor to it. Seems like that's about as best as we can do. It's very difficult to be authentic. But that's okay. We are in the world. We're stuck in samsara. We haven't got much choice about that. We just have to try our best and see if there's some way in which we can make progress on a spiritual path. I'm getting soaking wet here, and we've got a ferry to catch. So I'll see you a bit later when I get to Samiling. I can introduce you to the stupa and the temple. So see you later.